Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. In today's video, we're going to, once again, this is the fourth time I'm saying that now, be discussing the events that transpired in the Harry Potter universe after the books and films ended. I've made 3 separate videos on this topic to date, parts 1, 2 and 3, which each cover 10 separate characters and what they got up to post Deathly Hallows. Between those 3 videos, I've managed to cover Voldemort, Neville, Hermione, Ron, Harry, George, Luna, Hagrid, Draco, the Dursleys, Umbridge, Fudge, Lockhart, Flitwick, Filch, Ollivander, Kingsley Shacklebolt, Pomona Sprout, Arthur, Molly Weasley, Percy Weasley, Aberforth Dumbledore, Fleur, Seamus Finnigan, McGonagall, Narcissa, Lucius, Cormac Mclaggen, Grawp, Rita Skeeter, Slughorn, and Dean Thomas. Today, I'm going to be continuing that trend and giving you part 4 of what happened to these 10 characters after the war. I'll link parts 1, 2, and 3 in the pinned comment. The new Fantastic Beasts films, like The Secrets of Dumbledore dropping this month, are giving us new insights into the beloved characters of our childhoods, releasing never-before-seen information about their backstories. That got me thinking, what happened to these characters after the story had ended? Today, we're going to be taking a closer look. Number 1. Charlie Weasley. Though Charlie didn't make an appearance in the films, he was certainly present for the Battle of Hogwarts and survived the battle. Charlie never married, nor had children, but got to spend his time with his copious siblings, nieces, and nephews. Being an outdoorsy type with an affinity for dragons, Charlie was more preoccupied with his craft rather than pursuing ladies. Apparently, in the summer of 2014, nosy journalist Rita Skeeter began to question his prolonged celibacy, something that was obviously none of her business. 2. Sybil Trelawny. Sybil Trelawny, Hogwarts divination professor, fought valiantly in the Battle of Hogwarts, bravely protecting her friends, home, and livelihood. And with a move like a tennis serve, she heaved another enormous crystal sphere from her bag, waved her wand through the air, and caused the ball to speed across the hall and smash through a window. Fortunately, Trelawney survived the battle, and afterwards continued to teach well into the 2010s, continuing her tradition of predicting the deaths of her students. In the year 2020, Trelawney published a book entitled My Eyes and How to See Past Them, a book that Hermione Granger kept on her shelves in her office at the Ministry of Magic. 3. Firenze. Firenze was a centaur and part of the centaur colony located in the Forbidden Forest. Firenze was also the same centaur that saved Harry in the Philosopher's Stone. Firenze notably replaced Trelawney as divination professor after she was sacked by Umbridge. Though Trelawney was eventually given her position back at the school, Firenze stayed on and the pair co-taught the subject. Firenze was active in fighting back against the Death Eaters during the Second Wizarding War, and eventually sustained serious injuries. Shaking and unable to stand by himself, Firenze was laid on a raised platform in the Great Hall during the second half of the battle. Fortunately, Firenze was able to survive his injuries, a special thanks to Madame Pomfrey for that. After the battle had ended, Firenze was welcomed back into his centaur colony, where they were finally forced to acknowledge that Firenze's pro-human leanings were not shameful, but honorable. Firenze continued to live out his days teaching divination alongside Trelawney. Number 4. Oliver Wood. Oliver Wood attended Hogwarts from 1987 to 1994, and he is most well known for his passion surrounding the game of Quidditch. During his time at the school, Wood was both keeper and captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team, and was known for his determination and skill on the field. Wood graduated from Hogwarts before Harry and many of the other main characters in the story, and went on to join a professional Quidditch team, Puddlemere United, where he began as a reserve keeper. However, Wood did eventually return to Hogwarts in 1998 in order to offer his support in the fight against Voldemort and the Death Eaters. Wood fought valiantly, and also helped to drag the bodies of the deceased into the Great Hall. Fortunately, Wood did survive the battle and spent the rest of his days playing professional Quidditch, his true calling. Number 5. Madame Maxime. Madame Olympe Maxime was a French witch and headmistress of Beauxbatons Academy of Magic. She was 11 feet 6 inches tall and a half-giant just like Hagrid. Apart from being enormous and the headmistress of Beauxbatons, she is perhaps best well known for her relationship with Hagrid. Apart from the book's initial signifiers that the pair were possibly romantically linked, the relationship isn't touched on much, and eventually the Goblet of Fire simply ends, with Maxime departing and heading back to Beauxbatons alone. This left fans with one big question: what happened with Hagrid and Maxime? Rowling once addressed Hagrid's love life in an interview. Did Hagrid ever get married and have children? Oh, did Hagrid ever get married and have children? No. Realistically, Hagrid's pool of potential girlfriends is extremely limited, because with the giants killing each other off, the number of giantesses around is infinitesimal, and he met one of the only ones, and I'm afraid she thought he was kind of cute, but she was a little more, how should I put it, sophisticated than Hagrid. So no, bless him. It turned out that Maxime simply thought she was too good for Hagrid. It's certainly a shame that Maxime was the one that got away, but on the other hand, I think that he was probably the one that was too good for her. We don't know much else about Maxime's later life, but we do know that she continued on as headmistress of Beauxbatons. 6. Bill Weasley. Bill Weasley was the first and eldest Weasley child. Though Bill survived the war and the copious battles that transpired, he was at one point severely injured by the notorious werewolf Fenrir Greyback. Fortunately, he avoided turning into a werewolf, but it has been expressed that he did develop the tendency to enjoy very rare steaks. Following the war, Bill and his wife Fleur, who he married in 1997, had 3 children: Victoire, Dominique, and Louis Weasley. 7. Pansy Parkinson. Pansy Parkinson was a Slytherin witch in Harry Potter's year at Hogwarts. The Parkinson family were purebloods and members of the Sacred 28, a list of 28 pureblood wizarding families. During her time at the school, Pansy was both a prefect and a member of the Inquisitorial Squad. During the final battle of the Second Wizarding War, Pansy infamously spoke up in favor of turning Harry Potter over to Lord Voldemort. Her words, however, were not well received by most of her classmates, who drew their wands upon her in Harry's defense. Little is known of what happened to Pansy after the Second Wizarding War, or her later life, but we do know that she fell out of touch with Draco. J.K. Rowling said in an interview that Pansy didn't end up marrying Draco because she always hated her. I loathe Pansy Parkinson. I don't love Draco, but I really dislike her. She's every girl who ever teased me at school. She's the anti-Hermione. I loathe her. 8. Aunt Marge. Marge Dursley was an English muggle and Vernon Dursley's older sister. Marge was an extremely unpleasant woman, and you may remember one particular visit to the Dursley residence in which Harry could tolerate no more. After speaking ill of Harry's parents, Harry's magical abilities unintentionally erupted in the form of a non-verbal inflating charm, which resulted in Marge's body inflating. This caused her to float upwards towards the ceiling. Marge was later punctured and had her memory modified by the Accidental Magic Reversal Squad from the Ministry of Magic. After this incident, the Dursleys never invited Marge to stay again, and Harry never saw her again. Number 9. Patel Twins. Padma Parvati. Both Padma and Parvati were active in the Battle of Hogwarts, and neither of them have been listed among the Fallen 50 unknown casualties in the fight against Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. Because of this, we know for certain that they survived the battle. There's very little information available about their later lives, but we do know that both kept their Dumbledore's army coins, and likely attended the 2014 reunion of Dumbledore's army. 10. Ginny Weasley. It probably shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that Ginny ended up marrying the one and only Harry Potter. She was in love with him for years, and though the films didn't do a very good job of portraying this relationship, they were meant to be. The epilogue of the film gives us just a glimpse of the lady that Ginny would become, where she is seen sending off her children to Hogwarts at platform 9 3/4. Harry and Ginny had 3 children, James, Albus, and Lily. Immediately after graduating from Hogwarts, however, it has been reported that Ginny actually became a professional Quidditch player, going on to play for the Holyhead Harpies. In the years that followed the Harry Potter series, Rowling provided other clues about Ginny's later life. After retiring to become a mother, Ginny joined on with the Daily Prophet and became their official Quidditch correspondent. This position eventually matured, and she became the sports editor for the paper. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Who have I missed? Who next? Leave a comment down below. Until next time, remember, words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic.